welcome to SVG-TV News for Tuesday, October 31st, 2023. I'm Rochelle Baptiste with the details. A number of preschoolers from across the country today got a taste of the National Independence Military Parade as they participated in a mock parade and rally at the Victoria Park. Various departments of the Royal St. Vincent and Grenadines Police Force, including the Rapid Response Unit Black Squad and the Auxiliary Unit, as well as nurses, were on display during the mock parade and rally. Addressing the rally, Senior Education Officer responsible for early childhood education, Etienne Williams, said it is of great significance that the students are engaged in various activities to help them understand and appreciate the value of freedom and independence that the country was built upon.
It is important that they learn about the sacrifices made by our ancestors, how to be resilient, and to take pride in their identity. Too often, we are still seeing children and even adults sitting when the national anthem is being played. However, the late great Bob Marley said in one of his songs, "None but ourselves can free our minds. Each individual has the power to change this." How much longer are we going to accept this nonchalant attitude towards our anthem and other national symbols? Our children need to be instructed with life skills that promote an understanding of independence, loyalty, and patriotism. We at the Ministry of Education cannot do it by ourselves. The schools cannot do it by themselves. The churches and the community's efforts alone are not enough. But together, we can move mountains, thanks to our Almighty God.
Williams said the event will help to promote good citizenship or a level of patriotism among the young children.
Nelson Mandela, a man who exhibits tremendous fortitude and tolerance in his lifetime, stated, "For to be free is not merely to cast off one's chains, but to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedom of others." Let us not continue to take our independence for granted and forget those who fought for us to be free. But let us rededicate ourselves to our country by practicing values such as loyalty, citizenship, and patriotism.
Also addressing the rally was President of the National Association for Early Childhood Educators, Esther Pompey, who spoke on the challenges faced over the past 3 years, which caused the activity to stop for a while.
In 2019, a parade was held which was promised to be an annual independence event. But the hands of COVID-19 and the eruption of the La Soufrière volcano stopped it for the past 3 years. We recall how these two events impacted the lives of everyone. This means our children were not spared. We had to regroup to get where we are today. The nation celebrates its 44th anniversary of independence under the theme, "Our resilience, our fortitude, our people, our identity, road to 45. Resilience is not only embedded in the adult population. We have watched how our children demonstrated resilience in the wake of the pandemic and the volcanic eruptions. Being away from the classroom for almost 1 year, the report of students who entered primary school from our early childhood centers during this period speaks volume.
The mock independence parade and rally was hosted by the National Association of Early Childhood Education in association with the Ministry of Education and National Reconciliation. On the national symbols of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, retired cultural officer Michael Peters would like to see an adjustment made to the Latin language on the coat of arms, which currently reads Pax est Justitia, with the English translation to peace and justice. On NBC Radio face-to-face program yesterday, Peters noted that the national symbols are sacred to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, which assists in identifying and separating it as an independent nation.
The coat of arms was adopted, like many of the other national symbols, in 1969 when we gained associated status with Britain. And it was a sort of a semi-independence 10-year period up until 1979 when we gained full independence. The coat of arms on it is written in Latin. Of course, Latin is a dead language. Pax est Justitia. If you ask many Vincentians what is written in the coat of arms, they will give you the translation, peace and justice.
Peace and justice, yes.
Perhaps it is saying that we need to adjust that from Latin to English. Yeah, because not many countries, I can't think of another country in the Caribbean, of course in our region, that has coat of arms written where the words are written in Latin. Because Latin is a dead language, it's no longer in use.
Peters said the national flag is the primary symbol of the nation, as it was the first symbol gained after independence. He further explained that after independence, the nation has changed the national flag 3 times.
Here on green, I see all kind of shades, but it's blue, gold, and green. And Johnny P. St. Vincent and Grenadines probably is in the Guinness Book of Records for the most national flags, because you've had 3 since independence. We started out in 1979 with the breadfruit leaf that contained the coat of arms. And when the government changed in 1984, there was a talk that the flag was too difficult to reproduce and was one-sided. So the government of the day, the NDP administration, Prime Minister James Mitchell, sought to change the national flag. The first change, the 1979 flag had 2 white strips separating the blue and the gold and the gold and the green. So the first change in 1985 was to remove the 2 white strips. And the second change to what is now the present flag was to remove the breadfruit leaf and replace it with the 3 diamonds. So we've had 3 flags since independence as a nation, and the current one is blue, gold, and green with the 3 diamonds, representing the plurality of our country.
The retired cultural officer further added that oftentimes persons make the mistake of incorporating the national flag or the 3 diamonds on independence attires, and this should not be, as there are terms and conditions of using the national symbols.
The flag is sacred, it's our primary national symbol, and it should be treated as such. I see many Vincentians make the mistake of, when they're designing their national dress, there's nothing wrong in using the national colors, but once you put the diamonds in it, it becomes the use of the national flag. And then it becomes an inappropriate and even illegal use of the flag to have it as a national dress, wearing it as a national dress, because there are conditions and terms attached to using the national flag. And one of it is it should not be used as a national dress, making of a national dress. You could use the national colors in whatever form, shape you want to use, but do not put the diamonds on it, then it becomes a national flag. So people must be aware when they're designing the independence way, do not use the diamonds as when you're mixing the colors and you're designing the outfit, because you don't want to be using the national flag. It's a sacred national symbol.
In other local news now, we hear that the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force has seen a decrease in theft during the holidays. However, persons are being urged not to become complacent. This is from Superintendent of Police, who is in charge of the Eastern Division, Hezron Ballantyne, on the Police on the Beat program last evening, discussing the topic neighborly awareness, understanding the law, and promoting peaceful living. Providing some stats, SOP Ballantyne said the crime-fighting initiatives that were implemented by the RSVG police force have been very fruitful over the last few years.
And it's imperative that the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines police force implement and execute various strategies to reduce the occurrences. Each holiday season has its own unique challenges. I must also mention that we cannot rule out the existence of fraudulent activities, such as counterfeit notes, during the festive seasons. Since the implementation of various measures that we use to curb the increase of theft during the Christmas season, carnival season, we have seen significant decrease. For example, as you asked me to provide a bit of stats, in the months of October and November in 2022, we recorded 196 reported cases of theft, respectively. In the month of December, there were 88 reported cases. And I went on further to check in January and February of this year, where we saw a slight increase of 91 and 115, respectively. So we can safely say that the efforts that has been made by the police to combat this offense is fruitful.
SOP Ballantyne said the RSVG police force will continue to do its part to make St. Vincent and Grenadines a safe place for its citizens and visitors.
It is important for us, our listeners, to understand legally what is theft. Now, a person is guilty of theft if it's dishonestly appropriates the property belonging to another with the intention of permanently depriving the other of it. And if I remember well at training school, theft and steal must be construed accordingly.
That's right.
And it is contrary to Section 291 of Criminal Code of St. Vincent and the Grenadines 2009. Now, theft is basically a burden on any society where St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force, we ensure that we adequately put security in place. And the police force, we have a systematic plan in place, which include internal briefing and consultations with our men, so our men can know their roles and responsibilities, especially around this time. And information can be disseminated throughout the police force to make what we put in place effective and efficient. We also provide tips and advice to the general public.
Also on the program was Crown Counsel in the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, Roseanne Richardson, who outlined the different penalties which a person involved in theft or fraud can face.
Theft and generally offenses of dishonesty, there are different offenses. So there is an offense for theft, there's an offense for robbery, there's an offense for aggravated burglary and burglary. Those are all dishonest offenses where basically a person steals from another or enters onto property that does not belong to them with the intention of stealing. For theft, for example, in the summary court, that means that in the lower court, in the magistrate's court, the maximum penalty, you have a maximum penalty of 2 years. On indictment, that means at the high court, the maximum penalty is 10 years. For robbery, maximum penalty is for life. And burglary, that's 14 years, aggravated burglary, which means you enter into a person's property with a weapon, basically. That's for life. The maximum imprisonment is for life.
And the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force is the recipient of a new signage for the Central Police Station compliments Cultural Ambassador Short's problem child James. The signage was presented to Commissioner of Police Enville Williams by Jamelia James, sister of the Cultural Ambassador, at a brief handing over ceremony held at the Central Police Station in Kingstown on Monday, October 30th. Upon accepting the signage, Commissioner Williams thanked James, his sister and family for the generous generous donation on behalf of the RSVG Police Force, noting that such donations positively affects the youths. According to the Commissioner, James, through his music and lifestyle, has been a role model to the youths and encourage him and other citizens to continue to play a pivotal role in the lives of the nation's youth to influence positive change. In attendance at the handing over ceremony were Deputy Commissioner of Police Frankie Joseph, Assistant Commissioners of Police Christopher Benjamin, Leonard Fergus, and Trevor Bailey, Officer in charge of the Central Division, Superintendent Kimesia Blake, and Head of the Public Relations and Complaints Department, Superintendent Junior Simmons. The St. Vincent and the Grenadines robotics teams captured the 67th spot out of 191 countries in the 2023 First Global Challenge held in Singapore from October 7 to the 10th under the theme Hydrogen Horizons. This marked a considerable improvement from their previous performance in 2022, where the team placed 8th yet out of 192 countries. A news release from the Agency for Public Information says the achievement not only reinforces SVG's growing prominence in the field of robotics, but also highlights the importance of nurturing and supporting young talents in the STEM fields. The participants were required to utilize their creativity and problem-solving abilities to design and construct a robot using a standard part kit. They then had to navigate the robot in a simulated environment, producing hydrogen and employing it for energy storage, transportation, and conversion. The SVG robotics teams comprise J.R. Patrick, a first-year student of the SVG Community College, Shakina Campbell, Daniela Duncan, Tia Gunmonroe, and Nikolai Williams, a second-year student of the SVG Community College. The team was accompanied by mentor Osni Daniel, Timothy Geloso, and leader Brandon Daniel. The members of the robotics team have extended their gratitude to all those who made their trip to Singapore possible and for making their dreams of many young students of STEM come to life. The robots can be seen in action at the upcoming VINLEC National Science and Technology Fair in November this year. The National Parks, Rivers and Beaches Authority today hosted an exhibition outside the Postal Corporation building to celebrate National Parks Day 2023. The exhibition was hosted under the theme Conserving Nature, Sustaining Lives, and was aimed at raising awareness about the critical issues surrounding the conservation of our natural resources in SVG and provide a platform for organizations and experts to share their knowledge, insight, and initiatives in the field of conservation. At the exhibition, Technical Supervisor with the National Parks, Rivers and Beaches Authority, Pamela Pompey, highlighted a variety of plants which can be found in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and are important to the conservation of the environment.
But the first one is going to be the soufre tree, which is our national flower. For some of you who would not have seen the flower before, it's right here. Then we have the breadfruit tree, the one that was brought to St. Vincent by Captain Bly. It's right here. You have the natal plum. That one is kind of fleshy. It's like a cherry, and you have to eat it when it's properly ripe. We also have the velvet tambron. It's small and powdery, and it has that sour taste just like the normal tambron. We also have the coffee for you coffee lovers. We have the coffee for those of you who have never seen the coffee beans before. We have it right here. And we also have the ruku. In the back there is the ruku. Persons would have known of Indians and who would paint their faces with ruku. And ruku is also used in the kitchen, where you can use it like you're cooking butter. It color your pot like those seasoning that you put in your pot. That is the ruku. And we also have the strawberry guava. It is the same texture as guava, but it's as small as the cherry. Has the seeds like guava, tastes very nice.
Pompey said conserving specific plants, including the soufre tree, is of utmost importance and encourage Vincentians to get involved in backyard gardening.
They are nutritional and they are also medicinal plants. Okay, for cooking is the ruku. Instead of getting into all this powder seasoning that are, some of them are, enhances cancer. This would be natural in your pot, so you can use the ruku. And then you have the gotu kola. This can be used as a tea, and it is also medicinal. It helps with arthritis and pain and things like that. So that is very good. It doesn't take much space to have the gotu kola. Doesn't take much space at all. So you can have this in a pot and you can use it as your tea.
And Communications and Public Education Officer of the National Parks, Rivers and Beaches Authority, Tonique Barrow, also highlighted the importance of conservation and appreciation of our natural resources.
It's about reflecting on what are some of the things that we get from nature. When we think about water, food, medicine, our shelter, I think about when we think about conservation, that's what we're really focusing on the importance of nature, the importance of conserving these precious resources, and these precious resources that sustains us, right? If we destroy nature, we are ultimately destroying our lives, right? And sometimes people don't understand that nature and our lives are connected. There's a connection between nature. So what this exhibition and this month of activity is about really getting persons to understand that nature is important because we just cannot live without it. And we have to ensure that we conserve it so that our lives and our children's future can be brighter, healthier, and I would say cleaner.
Barrow noted that the month of activities helped to observe the National Parks Awareness Month was a success, and that it is her hope that the education sessions can make an impact in many persons' lives who appreciate and to conserve nature.
We had different elements. We had our education outreach where we go to the schools. We had our virtual panel discussion where we were talking about how do we engage the next generation to become environmental champions, and that is really what we are really encouraging, to have our students, to have our seniors all coming out and champion for the environment. And I think before we can ever reach that, everybody has to come to an understanding that it is my responsibility, my environment, and we have to work together to conserve it. Appreciate nature more, not just hang out at the botanical garden or go at Warrico Recreation Park, but really think about what am I getting from it? What are the benefits that I'm getting? The ones that we can't always touch, right? And that is really what it is about. And I really want to thank all the persons who have been supporting us, right? Even in this exhibition, we have different organizations that we work with on a daily basis to conserve the different resources, because National Parks, Rivers and Beaches Authority is not only about the recreational sites, most persons will think about that, but it's also about conservation. It's about sustainable management of our resources, our forest resources, our water, our marine ecosystem, all these other things, biodiversity, all these things are very important. So we really want to dive in deeper to that, and that is what our month of activities was really about.
Michael Allen, owner of Creative Collection from Guyana, is encouraging Vincentians to know the benefit of bamboo and getting into a skill that deals with bamboo harnessing. The entrepreneur was among the Guyanese contingent participating in this year's Everything Vinci Expo Plus, which was held over a 3-day period, wrapping up on Sunday at the decommissioned E.T. Joshua Airport tarmac.
Well, the person's appearance towards bamboo was like, wow, never seen bamboo at the magnitude. And I was impressed with every person who come around that they had a desire maybe to see more bamboo furniture. As people keep asking after the expo where you're going to find these bamboo furniture. So there's a situation here where people got to love it, and maybe if some persons could find it fit to harness it, the bamboo production or the bamboo sector with all the bamboo that they have here. It's really a good opportunity for empower young people and make person's financial status rise. This is the purpose of knowing about a skill in bamboo technology. It's a simple skill, but you just gotta harness it and work towards training, and then you can get the best of the bamboo. Because you got skilled persons and a team of persons who could be productive, and they can make any person who invests feel proud about the investment. Yeah, well, because of the preservation treatment, right? It's an important process where if you studied in China, there's the way they do it, and you get over 50 years according to how you care the furniture. Because some people might want to stand up on it or jump on it and throw it down.
And worker at the Reliance Press Company here in SVG, Tariq Ross, showcased their freshly squeezed cane juice business at the expo.
We grow cane and make cane juice, but it belongs, the establishment belongs to Mr. Harcourt Scott, right? And I am one of his workers, you can say. Well, this machine is simple. Basically, you put the cane through here, and you have some spinners here that squeeze out the cane itself. So it's a 1-2 step easy process. Yeah. You know? Yeah. Well, it depends on the quality of the cane. I wouldn't say really strong, but it's in between. Yeah, it's not too strong, and it's because if the cane is nice and light, fresh cane, then you'll have some good juice, you know. But if it's like if the cane is kind of old, the juice might be a little brownish and it might have a little bitterish kind of taste. So it's better to do it while they're nice and young. Yes, you have some locals, but most of the majority of people that buy sugar cane is those who live outside of St. Vincent and have drunk it in different Caribbean islands, and then they know the benefits of it, that is usually will support me. But you have 1 or 2 Vincentians who, you know, they'll come about and want to try it out and taste it, and they'll buy it.